battle rages on.
That ball is absolutely scorched.
And Adrian Gonzalez just homered. 11 Dodgers have gone down swinging tonight.
The New York Mets are a win away from going to the National League Championship Series.
A 13-7 Game 3 win has put Mets fans in celebration mode. A win away from the National League Championship Series. The 2015 National League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by T-Mobile. Tonight, the Dodgers fighting for their playoff lives, taking on the Mets here on TBS. Well, we know this much. The Chicago Cubs are waiting for the winner of this series. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ernie Johnson. Cal Ripken is here along with Ron Darling. So at night's end here at Citi Field, could be champagne all over the place for the Mets, or we could all be moving to Los Angeles for a decisive Game 5. Cal, paint it up for me. The Mets win if...
Well, they simply have to figure out how to score runs against Clayton Kershaw. They figured out how to score runs last night. Curtis Granderson had a big night. Here's a 3-run double. Darno hits a home run, and Cespedes hits a long 3-run homer. They all had great nights. They scored runs really easy. And here's Granderson, another double in the left center field gap that scores 2 more runs. An historic night for the Mets. 13 runs, 13 hits. The important stat for me is that 6 for 15 with runners in scoring position. So offense doesn't necessarily carry over. But my experience is when you're facing the best, you want to feel the best. I think Cespedes and Granderson feel pretty good.
Hold on, Cal. Just hold on a second. We're talking about the best pitcher of his generation. 3 Cy Youngs. I know all the numbers. They're all negative in the postseason. 5 straight losses, 1-6. In elimination games, his ERA is 9. But at some point, he's got to have that signature game. And I'm asking, why not? Dodger fans are asking, why not tonight?
Last time the New York Mets won a playoff series, it was 2006. The last time they were able to celebrate a playoff series win on their home field, 15 years ago. It's Game 4. Glad you're with us. First pitch coming right up. City electrified for Game 4 of the National League Division Series as the Mets take the field here at Citi Field. 68 degrees. Forecast is clear, and we cannot wait for baseball here as the Dodgers take on the Mets. Tonight's batting order is presented by T-Mobile. First time there's been a lefty starter for New York. Another different lineup set out by Don Mattingly. Kike Hernandez leads it off. Howie Kendrick in the 2-hole, followed by Adrian Gonzalez, and Justin Turner hits cleanup. Corey Seager batting the starting lineup. Yasiel Puig, for the first time in this series, gets a start in right field. A.J. Ellis behind the plate. Justin Ruggiano, who has gotten some starts against left-handed pitching in left field in the last month of the season, bats 8. And Clayton Kershaw does the pitching in a must-win game for the Dodgers.
And can you imagine the must-win game goes to a kid who grew up a Mets fan on Long Island, 4-0 on the season on 6 starts, but he had his season interrupted twice with 2 different injuries. Oh, what he must be going through right now.
They're setting the defense. It looks a lot like yesterday's game. You got Steven Matz throwing to Darno behind the plate. And around the diamond, we got Daniel Murphy and William Flores, who made a couple of nice plays. Lucas Duda at first, and David Wright with his 2 Gold Gloves. We go to the outfield. We got Cespedes in left tonight, Granderson in right, and Ron Lagares sporting a Gold Glove from 2014 in center field.
Well, Clayton Kershaw, and we've documented his postseason struggles, which go with all the regular season success in the 3 Cy Youngs. And you talk about fire in the belly here before Game 4.
We're talking about Clayton was an ex-football player in high school, exhibiting some of that behavior, almost hurting some of his teammates in the dugout.
Well, can he channel that energy? Because many times you want to control yourself with the emotion. Can that be good?
It can be good, but he'll have a few minutes to calm down because he got the top of the inning.
We are ready to go. So glad you're with us here on TBS. Kike Hernandez waiting on the first offering from Steven Matz, nowhere near 1-0. If he said it once, he said it half a dozen times in his press conference yesterday. Steven Matz, I just want to take the emotion out of it. Good luck to you, kid. Foul back. A ball and a strike.
Well, that first pitch looks like his body got out before his arm caught up. And that's usually when you're trying to throw it really hard, or maybe a little nervous.
Hernandez, a .307 hitter in the regular season, 2 for 6 in this series. Takes a breaking pitch over. 1-2.
He righted himself in the last 2 pitches. A nice fastball for a strike, and he broke up a breaking ball.
I mentioned the 2 different injuries this year. He had a lat or under his armpit injury for a while, and then some back spasms. So he has not pitched in a major league game in 3 weeks.
As a result, limited starts in the bigs, 6. Also limited losses, 0. He was 4-0, and he gets Hernandez for the first out here of Game 4.
The great look about that is that Darno, helping his young pitcher, called for that breaking ball on the ground. Perfectly placed.
It looks like a strike, and it breaks down into the dirt. Gets the swing and miss.
Here's Howie Kendrick. Kendrick's swinging a good bat for the Dodgers here in this series. He's 5 for 13, a home run and 4 runs batted in.
That was a 1-0 changeup right there. Looked like he was looking at his footing on the mound.
2 balls, no strikes. Here it comes. In the air, shallow right. Granderson, 2 down. So I talk about, let's take the emotion out of it, as Steven Matz was saying, but really, Ronnie, how do you get it all under control when you're 24 years old? It's a hometown start in a playoff game. I mean, it just doesn't get any bigger than that for Steven Matz.
You don't. I mean, that's really what the issue is that you don't know exactly how you're going to feel until you step on that rubber. So far, so good.
Adrian Gonzalez looks at a strike 0-1. Softly hit up the middle. 3 up, 3 down for Steven Matz. His parents, Ron and Lori, looking on, pinching themselves. We head to the bottom half of the first. Welcome back to Citi Field. Tonight's batting order for the Mets is presented by T-Mobile. Curtis Granderson having a great series. Leads off. Then it's David Wright, Daniel Murphy in the 3-hole, and Yoenis Cespedes who hit that bomb last night. 3-run shot hitting cleanup. Travis d'Arnaud, then Lucas Duda. Wilmer Flores, the shortstop. Juan Lagares, the center fielder. And Steven Matz does the pitching and bats ninth against Clayton Kershaw.
The biggest key for Kershaw in this game, his last 3 postseason starts, left-handed hitters who had 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. Granderson had 2 hits in the first game.
Granderson 6 for 11 in the series. He's knocked in 5 runs. All last night. Had a couple of doubles off the wall. And the count even, a ball and a strike.
I wonder if it was in Clayton's mind about swinging at the first pitch in game 1, because he bounced that fastball, tried to keep it down, made a nice pitch on the 1-0.
Those 5 RBIs last night, all off left-handed pitching. And I can remember a time in his career when Curtis Granderson couldn't hit lefties. Kevin Long really helped him out when he was with the Yankees. Long is the hitting coach now with the New York Mets.
Boy, that 1-1 pitch was very interesting to me. It was an up-and-in fastball that missed to make it 2-1. But that's where he's got to go tonight, Kershaw. He's got to rush these left-handed hitters in with his fastball.
That big breaking pitch missed. Count full. David Wright waiting on deck. Kershaw to Granderson. Line drive into the glove of Kendrick. There's where that shift paid off. Fourth member of our crew is Sam Ryan. Sam, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Ernie. Well, Clayton Kershaw going on short rest in this one, but the Dodgers don't seem too concerned. As catcher A.J. Ellis said, this is what he prepares for. He's not putting himself at risk. He trains hard in the offseason. His training is still so regimented during the season as well, so he has the stamina to go on 3 days rest, on short rest. He said he knows that Don Mattingly and pitching coach Rick Honeycutt will be keeping an eye on him, and he will stay in communication with them, guys.
Thank you very much, Sam. Here's David Wright. Little tapper up the line, and that is a foul ball.
Hey, Ronnie, about 4 days, mostly psychological, isn't it? Less physical at this point.
It's not physical now. The weather's beautiful. You feel as strong as an ox. It really just upsets your routine a little bit. You can see on 3 days rest, only 2 starts, ERA beautiful. So even though he hasn't won a game, he's pitched well on 3 days rest.
Terry Collins was talking today about his time with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He was with their minor league system for a while. He was director of player development for a while, and he was there when Clayton Kershaw first emerged on the scene. And he's talking today about Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach, who said in passing one day, "Have you seen this kid Kershaw pitch?" And he said, "Well, not yet." He said all Honeycutt did was kind of roll his eyes and walk away like, "Man, you wait till you see this kid." The 0-2 breaking pitch missed. A ball and 2 strikes. Wright only has 1 hit in this series. It was a big one. Game 1 of the series. Pedro Baez coming in out of the bullpen, and Wright knocked in a couple of runs. Made him dance. 2-2.
Well, if it is a game plan by Kershaw, it's a good one. He's met hitters scoring 13 runs last night. Get them off the plate. Make them move their feet. Feel a little uncomfortable.
Count goes full again.
These are the kind of bats that the Mets preach. 3-2 counts. Make them work a little bit. Don't swing at the bad pitches. Make sure you get a good pitch to hit. Granderson did that the first time up, hit a line drive right at Howie Kendrick.
First base runner of the game is David Wright as he draws a 1-out walk.
Almost mirrored the at-bat that Wright took in the first game when he took 11 pitch at bat and walked. Long at bat here, gets another walk.
Here's Daniel Murphy, who homered off Kershaw in the opener.
He only had 1 home run in the regular season versus left-handed pitching. But he's got 1 in this series off of Kershaw.
He's 3 for 13 in the series. Kershaw with that little bluff. And Wright scampered back. Ball and a strike to Murphy, who statistically speaking is the toughest guy to strike out in the major leagues. He has struck out 3 times in the series.
Mets do not steal bases, only 51. That's the lowest in the National League. Great pickoff move by Kershaw, and he has a slide step. There'll be no stealing today.
1-1, tried to check his swing, and he did. Confirmed by Alan Porter, third base umpire.
Now, this is one of those quick movements, but you can see he doesn't break his wrist, and sometimes you get called on that because you have a quick movement. I don't think that's a swing.
Chris Guccione, by the way, is calling the balls and strikes tonight. We'll run down the rest of the umpiring crew in just a second. The 2-1. Tried to check, and again, Porter says he did not go. 3 balls and a strike.
Yeah, real time, I think he might have went a little further on this one. This will be interesting to see. It always looks like a swing, but no, about the same.
Well, I'll tell you, the Dodger bench erupted at Alan Porter when he called that a check swing.
I never really liked the idea when it says that the bat goes across the plate. Depends where you're standing in the batter's box, how long your stride is. Did you attempt to hit the ball?
A little blooper. Right center. Kike Hernandez there to make the play. Hernandez had some ground to cover, and he got it done. Second out.
What made that a more difficult play is Kike Hernandez, as Cal pointed out yesterday, played very shallow. Looks like he's playing a little deeper in tonight's ball game.
Look at the rest of the umpiring crew. Guccione behind the plate. Gary Cedarstrom at first. Chad Fairchild at second. Alan Porter. We've seen him a couple of times already at third. Jim Wolf down the left field line, and Greg Gibson on the right field line. Here's Yoenis Cespedes, who electrified this place last night with a home run that, well, what was it, 4 something. And it got out. Exit speed of about 115. A bullet to short. And that'll be the third out. So, a walk puts a Met on base. They can't move him. We head to the second. Follow every pitch of the postseason with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Stay connected with highlights, replay reviews, scores, pitch tracking, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download the At Bat app today. Justin Turner leads it off against Steven Matz as we move to the second here at Citi Field. Swinging at the first pitch and fouling it away.
He's been taking a lot of the first pitches because I think the reputation is he goes up there and swings. But tonight he came out there saying, okay, you think I'm taking this one? Not this time. Had a good swing out a little bit late.
Matz into the wind. Here it comes. Grounded right back to him. One down. Matz 6'2", 200, reached up and gloved that and made the easy throw over.
Well, if this sounds like a broken record, you see the Chevrolet pitch arsenal of Steven Matz. You see lots of fastballs. The changeup is outstanding. Told you he learned it from Frank Viola. Breaking ball occasional. But I've said this about almost every Mets pitcher this series. Great athlete, good hitter.
Breaking pitch to Corey Seager. Takes it for a strike. Seager did not start in Game 3. Did pick up a hit off the bench. Back in the starting lineup tonight for Don Mattingly. He's 2 for 9 in his playoff baptism.
You know, we're not going to see 100-mile-an-hour fastball out of him, but the Flames are lighting up the screen right now at 95.
If there's one element to our graphics that Cal really digs, it's the Flames at 95. And there they are again. Well, Matt's falling behind. 3-1.
Fastball count. Fastball hitter.
Perfect pitch on 3-1.
And he misses, and there's the first Dodger base runner. Injury-plagued season for Yasiel Puig. Hamstrings have been barking at him.
If you had to describe him as a hitter, you'd say as soon as he sees that first pitch coming, he wants to let it go.
Only 2 at-bats in this series. He struck out in both, and he was fooled there on the first offering from Matz. 0-1.
So aggressive is an understatement with him?
Yes.
Limited to 79 games in the regular season. First start of this division series for Puig.
Puig's reputation is a first ball fastball hitter. And you see 2 breaking balls starting him off. Now would be the time to go up with the fastball. You want to see the fastball, make him swing at it up or bury a breaking ball.
There it is. It's that pitch up you were talking about. You don't have to throw it inside. All you have to do is above the letters over the plate.
Yeah, I think it's much more effective when it's not inside.
Yeah.
From a hitter's perspective, your first instinct is to move out of the way. If it's over the plate, your first instinct is to swing at it. Again, there's an example there. Looks like it caught the box for a strike, but he's not going to swing at that. It doesn't look appealing when it's inside. It looks appealing when it's out over the plate. Comes that fastball again.
Just did stay alive.
So that had the same height on the pitch right there, but it's a little bit out over the plate. He almost forces the hitter to go after it.
I think he's seen so many fastballs now. That curveball that he threw earlier to Kike Hernandez down and inside on that back foot is a good pitch.
He's got to get it down.
Popped him up. David Wright called off by Flores. 2 down. So Puig 0 for 3 in this division series.
As pitchers, we always complain about the broken bat hits. Well, that was a curveball down the middle that he got back. It was a mistake. Puig missed it.
A little lucky right there. You know, those fly balls I used to always think about landing in the middle of that infield grass right there. If you had a slow runner hit that and a fast runner on first base, that's the perfect one to let drop and then replace the runners.
Here's A.J. Ellis, who very quietly has tied a Dodger franchise postseason record with an 11-game hitting streak. Didn't play last night. Guy who can always work counts, looks at a lot of pitches, and he's ahead 2-0.
My favorite A.J. Ellis story is early in the tenure of Don Mattingly. He had to send him down. He called him in the office. A.J. Ellis said to him, "You're making a huge mistake. I belong here, and I can help you."
That's over for a strike, 2-1. And you ask Ellis who he models his game after, who he has looked at as kind of a role model, and it's been Mike Matheny, the current manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, whose team was dispatched today by the Chicago Cubs. We congratulate Joe Madden and company, and they make their way to the National League Championship Series, waiting now to see who they're going to play. They might know tonight. 2-1. In the air to the gap in right center field. Granderson is right there, and that'll do it for the Dodgers in their half of the second. We are scoreless at Citi Field. It is time for Records and Milestones presented by Jim Beam. Drink smart. Guys, we watched the game here yesterday, but around baseball, those 4 games, 21 total home runs, postseason record, 61 runs scored in those 4 games. Cubs had 6 long balls. What a day of baseball it was yesterday, and those 2 ALDS series both going the distance as they wind up tomorrow. For more records and milestones, go to BleacherReport.com. Travis d'Arnaud leads it off for the Mets against Clayton Kershaw. d'Arnaud went deep in game 3. And that's into shallow right. Who wants it? Puig puts it in his glove. There was a little, just a moment of hesitation as Kendrick went back and Puig came in. Yasiel made the putout.
Yeah, I don't think it's any question that Clayton has made the adjustment and has thrown the ball inside a little bit more. This pitch right here beat him inside. And yeah, the miscommunication there. It's too late in the season not to know each other. But Puig hasn't been out there all season, so the loud crowd noise, you want to make sure you call really early, really loud.
Lucas Duda just 2 for 11 in the series, has struck out 7 times.
I wonder if that's part of Clayton's game plan here, is to use the inner half of the plate.
There's another one inside. That is what he is going to do tonight. It's obvious. Fastball, breaking ball.
That surprises me a little bit. I thought his fastball percentage was a little higher.
You know, his breaking ball, they include the curveball and the cutter slider. So,
well, a cutter can be put in the category of a fastball.
Yep, can be.
It seems more like a bigger slider to me from him.
No 2 is tapped foul over there by the Mets dugout. 27 home run season for Duda with 73 runs batted in. Has not knocked in a run here in this series.
That cutter slider against the left-handers he's not been able to control yet. We saw it against Murphy. We're seeing now against Duda.
A.J. Ellis with the signs, and Duda hangs in. Clayton Kershaw worked 232 2/3 innings this season, the most in baseball by 2/3 of an inning over Dallas Keuchel. And Duda goes down swinging for out number 2 here in the second.
That's a nice short cutter right there. 91 miles an hour, about 4 miles off the fastball before that.
Well, it's almost like he slowed down. Instead of trying to throw it so hard, he tried to make it more accurate. So far, I talked about controlling the left-handed hitters. They're 0 for 3 so far tonight.
And now he faces Wilmer Flores, who's 3 for 6 against Kershaw in his career. Takes low and inside, 1-0.
His first strikeout. Normally you're used to seeing a lot of K's sprinkled through.
Well, fastball inside on our pitch tracks inside, but getting that call so far from Chris Cuccione.
Kershaw struck out 11 in his game 1 start of this series. That's off his foot, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Interesting to me that Kershaw seems to be working at a meteor rate, and that the Mets haven't stepped out once.
And no argument on that one. Right down the pipe for a called 3rd strike. Kershaw strikes out the last 2. We head to the 3rd. Our graphic artist Chris Nelson and Franklin Cow told me today, hey, you know it's Chevy Truck Month? Time to make a strong decision like choosing a Chevy Silverado. Chevrolet is proud to be the official vehicle of Major League Baseball. Justin Ruggiano swings at the first pitch from Steven Matz and fouls it away.
Never thought of Franklin as a truck guy. But
no, well, some of these guys surprise you. Terry Collins talking earlier today about the I guess the system for New York Mets pitchers and how they try to bring them along, and they say it's a lot of what Ray Miller used to teach. Work fast, change speeds, strike one, and boy, you're seeing that with Steven Matz tonight.
Well, I think that, you know, to have this many talented arms and to develop them so when they get here, they show the poise that they've shown in this postseason so far. Has been pretty remarkable.
Ruggiano waiting on a 1-2. Way outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I love the conversation about fastball command.
yeah.
You know, teaching guys with good arms how to command that on each side of the plate, up and down, instead of trying to make them have 2 seamers or cutters. Take their skill or their God-given talent, the fastball, and learn how to use it.
Keep it simple. I mean, don't make it so complicated. Guys who throw 95 plus, if they can control it on both sides of the plate, that's enough, and they can move on from there.
The 2-2. And he threw it past Ruggiano for the first out. Second strikeout for Steven Matz.
What you like to see early in the game is the target given by a catcher to a young pitcher, and your pitcher hitting that target. We've seen it now on 3 or 4 different occasions with Matz the first time through this lineup.
Yeah, that's a wonderful example of the high fastball that you can throw by him. You don't have to waste it up around the letters or go too high. There is a risk of making a mistake too low, but if you have confidence in putting it right there, it's very difficult to hit.
Ball and a strike to Clayton Kershaw, who can handle the bat for a pitcher. Knocked in a couple of runs this year. 9 hits and 71 trips. He was 0 for 2 in game 1. How do you do? 1 and 2.
So now he knows what everybody else feels like when he drops the hook on him.
There you go.
That's a good pitch to come back with. Once you buckle him and make him aware of that, the fastball in the outside corner looks a mile away.
Just got a piece. And then it got a piece of d'Arnaud back there too. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Matz is the 3rd pitcher in history to start a postseason game with no career losses. 4-0 this summer.
Man, is he working fast. And look at Kershaw dumping one into left for the first Dodger hit. Wide turn by Kershaw. And he's on with 1 out. He's frisky tonight, man. He's got a lot of energy. You saw him before the game bouncing around the dugout. Kind of had a little spring in his step as he came to the plate here in the 3rd, and then made the wide turn at first.
How about fooled by that first breaking ball, and then second one, he produces a base hit.
You know, pitch selection comes from reading what happens in the previous pitch. He was so late on the fastball away, barely fouled it off. You don't want to bring a slower speed pitch back to him. We can get the bat head to it. But a nice piece of hitting, though. Stood right in there, pushed it to left center field.
Started Hernandez with a change. He was way out in front, 0-1. He struck Hernandez out as he led off the game.
Well, Don Mattingly has talked about Kike Hernandez, said someday he believes he's going to be an everyday player, not a guy who just plays in different positions. .423 against left-handed pitching this season.
The kid's got some savvy. Back-to-back change-ups. And he's ahead 0-2.
You know, in this game, you can be an everyday player and play a lot of positions. I think Tony Phillips made that popular years ago. Played a lot of positions very well.
Zobrist now.
Kershaw, short lead at first. Tap towards second. Murphy goes to second. They get one. Not a double play ball. And that's 2 down.
I love that decision right there. You know who's running. You're going to get a force out, keep the guy out of scoring position. It would have been easy to take the out at first base and let someone get in the scoring position. Let Kershaw get to second. But he knew he had a little time, made a nice throw, and they got the sure out at second base.
Here's Howie Kendrick. Been the Dodgers' hottest hitter in this postseason series.
I can't help but think of the pickoff play over with the left-hander. In the next series we have one that has trouble throwing over at first base. And that'll be a story.
Hernandez, big lead at first. And Kendrick takes the curveball over for a strike, 0-1.
Although the last time we did a Cubs game with Lester did pick off a runner over at first base. Might be getting more comfortable with that.
No balls and 2 strikes. Kendrick homered in game 3 as the Dodgers tried to narrow that gap. Just did get over. They had to review it, make sure there wasn't fan interference. Still, the Dodgers lost that one 13-7. 0-2 pitch. Dangerous at any count, but protects with 2.
Well, Matz has not shown much of a move to first base. Count 1-2, maybe anticipating a breaking ball. Hernandez could try to swipe one. He's got a big lead.
Many times you'll take a chance with 2 strikes on the hitter, especially with Kendrick.
There he goes, rounded up the middle and through for a base hit. Hernandez will hold at third. They're at the corners with 2 down.
Boy, Howie Kendrick continues to pound the baseball.
Now, I was surprised that the second baseman had the coverage on this ball right here, because Kendrick can shoot the ball the other way, fastball. If Flores would have been covering, he might have had a chance to make that play. So many times Kendrick is really good at inside out the ball, hitting the ball the opposite way, covering the off-speed pitch with 2 strikes. You got to make a decision on every pitch in the middle of the infield, and that's one I think they got backwards.
Adrian Gonzalez has 4 runs batted in this series, all but 2 out. 2 down, runners at first and third in a scoreless game as we play in the 3rd. That's a dangerous hitter right here.
I always like thinking with Adrian Gonzalez. Got jammed the first time up on a fastball. Didn't expect it to be in there that quick. Jam ground ball, broke his bat.
Little looper into center. That's going to fall for a hit, and the Dodgers are on the board.
I can't say I fought with him really well on that time, because he hit a breaking ball off the end of the bat for a bloop single to center field.
But that's what Hernandez brings to his ball club. He brings some energy, he brings some speed, and gets on base in front of these big hitters like Kendrick and Gonzalez.
Here's that high breaking ball. Just hits it far enough.
You see the frustration on the face of the 24-year-old as Gonzalez comes up with his 5th 2-out RBI. Dodgers have the lead, and here is Justin Turner. Takes outside, 1-0.
Well, his 7th start now is a postseason start for Mats. Terry Collins said before the game, in all of his starts, he's been able to limit the damage. Needs to limit it here.
That's a good point. Young pitchers tend to make the inning go a little longer. Veteran pitchers understand how to say, okay, a 1 is not a bad thing on the board. We're still in the game. They try to make the perfect, young guys try to make the perfect pitch, fall behind 2-0, and now they got to come into a hot hitter.
Lined, fair ball down the line and left. That's going to score 1 run. That's going to score 2 runs because here comes Gonzalez as Cespedes had trouble with it in left field. And it is a 3-0 Dodger lead.
Here's that 2-0 count, line drive right down in the corner. Agon is running from first base here. The ball takes a weird hop off the wall, and Cespedes can't come up with a clean. Renicky, the third base coach, is thinking about holding him up, but when he sees the ball come away from Cespedes, he just keeps him going.
Gloved it, kicked it, and Gonzalez came all the way around from first to score. So an inning that began with a strikeout of Ruggiano, Clayton Kershaw singled, was forced at second on the fielder's choice by Hernandez, and then 3 straight hits. Kendrick, Gonzalez, and Turner, and it's a 3-0 game. Here's Corey Seager.
Lost in that game yesterday where 20 runs were scored. Mets scored 13, but the Dodgers added 7. So they found their offensive shoes also.
Remember, also in that game, as you see the action, Eric Goodell and Bartolo Colon loosening in the Mets bullpen. Dodgers jumped out 3-0. And Mets answered with 4 of their own. This is going to wrap it up. But a productive inning for the Dodgers, who must win. Down 2-1 in the best of 5. They scored 3 here in the 3rd. National League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by T-Mobile. Here are the Dodger RBI guys from the top half of the third inning. One for Gonzalez, two for Turner. Corner infielders for LA. 8, 9, and 1 due for the Mets in the bottom half of the third inning. Juan Lagares takes a strike from Clayton Kershaw. And if you thought Kershaw looked pumped up and ready to go and confident in this game, imagine what a 3-run lead does for him. Mets hoping for some deja vu an inning later after what happened in game 3. Dodgers scoring 3 in the second, Mets 4 in the bottom half. And that all began with an infield hit by Yoenis Cespedes on a ball he beat out. Hit to Jimmy Rollins. We're talking to Don Mattingly about that, and he said, my goodness, did you see the home to first times he was putting on? They had it as this ball is lofted into foul territory, and Seager makes the play for the first out. They said the stopwatch times on that, what, 3.9 and a 3.7 that Cespedes clocked to first? My goodness. It's a nice play by the rookie right here, Cal.
Yeah, he takes a look down, finds out where the tarp is, goes over there, makes a nice play. Big, tall, long kid.
Looked like the guy in purple was trying to stop the play.
Now here's Steven Matz. He can handle the bat. Whoa, look at that cut.
He's about 2 days late, though.
Look at in his first game. Okay, Cal, nitpick. But this first game, he went 3 for 3 in his first start against the Reds. There's a little spinner over to Gonzalez for the second out. Jeez, Cal. Give a break.
Just an observation, Ern.
I defer to you, Iron Man. Believe me. Keep me in line, will you? You got to admit, it was a good cut.
It was a powerful cut. I'll give you that.
Let's move on, shall we? Here's Curtis Granderson with 2 down now in the third.
Another fastball in. Kershaw angry that he didn't get it.
Here's that Chevrolet pitch arsenal.
Remember we talked about his percentage surprising early on? He's actually establishing his fastball and establishing it in.
Less of those cutters, more of the four-seam fastball.
Big breaking pitch missed. 2 balls and a strike.
What's his pitch right here, Ronnie, before he gives the signal?
2-1 behind in the count. He's going to go with the little cutter away. Try to keep it down.
Yes, you're right.
On the ground into the shift. Kendrick throws him out from the outfield grass, and that is a quick 1-2-3 inning for Clayton Kershaw. We head to the 4th. That's Citi Field. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Top half of the fourth. Dodgers on top 3-0 in a game they have to have. And here is Puig. In the air to left. An all Cuban first out. Puig flies to Cespedes. A moment ago, Sam Ryan with Terry Collins.
Terry, I know you said during his bullpen session on Sunday he had electric stuff, but what do you see from Steven tonight that's giving him trouble?
I mean, the first 2 innings he was very good. Last inning, he hung a slider to Kershaw, and then he's made a couple pitches in the middle of the plate, but he's throwing all right. I mean, it's been a while since he's been out there, and we got kind of some tight reins on him. He probably won't go much longer, but we got to get him some runs.
When you say how much longer, how much?
Well, he's going to be around 100 pitches tops. The most he's thrown in the last month has been 88. So we're right. If he can give us a couple more innings, we'll be okay.
Thanks a lot, Terry.
Lined into left field, A.J. Ellis with the single, and we talked about having an 11-game postseason hitting streak, tied with Carl Crawford for the franchise high, and now A.J. Ellis owns it outright. A one-out single here in the fourth.
Those really intelligent catchers who might not be great hitters can think along with the opposing pitcher better than anyone probably in the lineup.
Here's Justin Ruggiano.
We were talking about Kershaw working quickly. One of the reasons he works quickly is because A.J. Ellis is in sync, putting the right fingers down at the right time. Lets him get into a rhythm.
Ruggiano turns on that, but it's foul to left. Dodgers drafted Ruggiano back in 2004, and then he was traded to Tampa Bay in 2006. Been with Miami, been with the Cubs, been with Seattle in this year, and now back with the Dodgers. And there was likely a time this summer when the last thing on his mind was being on a playoff roster.
Justin's taken a couple good swings here. And Puig was on a couple of pitches too. Just missing a pitch and flying out to left.
Ron Renicky, good hands down there.
The lefty, one of the great guys in baseball. When he was let go by the Brewers, I'm sure his phone rang off the hook.
Good baseball guy, good student of the game.
Ruggiano couldn't catch up to that 93-mile-an-hour fastball. And that's 2 down. He strikes out for the second time tonight.
Got him on the same pitch, the fastball up, Cal.
Yeah, that one had a little cutting action and stayed in a little bit. Started out over the middle of the plate. Kind of tied him in.
Now here's Clayton Kershaw, who singled his first time, and that was the first Dodger hit. Got their rally started. He would be forced at second, but when the Dodgers strung together 3 straight hits later in that inning, they got on the board. There's a bouncer over the mound. And Kershaw hustling down the line. Cannot beat the throw from Flores. Yoenis Cespedes due up in the bottom half of the fourth. look at the upcoming MLB postseason schedule. Tomorrow on FS1, be by the set. A couple of Game 5s in Toronto and Kansas City. And then Thursday, if we need it, we'll be at Chavez Ravine for Game 5 between the Mets and the Dodgers. You see not listed there is anything involving the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals, because the Cubs won that series today at Wrigley. 2-3-4 doing the bottom half of the fourth for the Mets, trying to do something about a 3-0 Dodger lead.
I watch A.J. Ellis. Every hitter that comes to the plate, they always end up with a smile on their face, because A.J. finds a way to make them crack a smile.
Probably said, hey, you know, I got a 12-game postseason hitting streak now. It's a Dodger record, by the way.
Yeah, how you going?
Breaking ball stayed up.
Whenever you watch Clayton, when he looks towards the bench in frustration, it's because he can't get that curveball over yet. That's the next piece of the puzzle. He gets that over, look out.
To short. Well, that ball had some spin on it, didn't it? And Seager threw him out. You've been there, Cal.
Oh, absolutely. The ball is jammed and comes off with a little spin. Sometimes it hits the pine tar, create a little bit more spin, and it hits the dirt up there. It takes a little tricky hop. Let's look and see if we can see it. Yeah, it goes dead right. And he's in a good position. He's got his body in a good position, so when he catches it, he still doesn't have to take a step and makes a nice throw to first. He does make all the plays look easier. He sets up early, catches it, got a good arm.
Daniel Murphy waits on the 0-1, and there's a drive. Deep right field. Puig is back. That ball's gone. Daniel Murphy, for the second time in this series, takes Clayton Kershaw deep. Here's Cespedes. .95 miles an hour from Kershaw. A pitch after. And Murphy took him for a ride.
And 95 right on the inside corner.
Followed by the sharp breaking pitch, 0-2.
That's the one you were talking about, him finding that big breaking ball. That was a cutter that stayed inside. Stayed out of the plate. 93 miles an hour, a little bit of a cutter on it.
Tap back to the mound. Kershaw throws him out. Just a few moments ago, Sam Ryan spoke with Dodgers manager Don Mattingly.
Don Clayton on short rest seems almost energized tonight. What are you seeing from him?
No, yeah, he looks good. I think he seems to be fairly relaxed, a little excited before the game. He's throwing the ball good. It's coming out good right now.
With what's at stake tonight, Don, any limitations as far as pitches on him?
We're definitely going to still take care of him. We're not just going to abuse him. But it's a pretty much normal start for him. And we'll just see how he's going.
Thanks a lot, Donnie.
Okay.
And obviously that interview taking place between innings. Moments before Daniel Murphy hit the solo home run here in the fourth. It's the second time in this series that he's connected in the fourth inning.
He had 1 home run all season against left-handed pitching. Out of his 14, he has 2 in the post, both against Kershaw.
Go figure. Travis d'Arnaud, big cut, 0-2.
Good fastball on the first pitch inside. d'Arnaud swung at it and then comes back with a cutter, a little bit up and in. Same result.
That's an interesting stat. The fourth inning has been an Achilles heel for Clayton Kershaw. Considering the year he had, that means every other inning is perfect.
I interpret that as meaning he sets down the first 9 in order. It's the second time around that they take a chance on him.
Piled off into the stands right over the Mets dugout. Daniel Murphy getting the Mets on the board here in the fourth. And the 1-2. d'Arnaud goes down swinging to end the fourth. But the New York Mets get on the board. Daniel Murphy going deep. It's 3-1. Back here at Citi Field as we move to the fifth. Dodgers on top 3-1 in a game they must win to force a game 5. Steven Matz in tight to Kike Hernandez. It's a ball and a strike. Hernandez, the Dodgers leadoff hitter here in game 4.
tried to go inside, up and in, and then comes back with a changeup.
Hernandez struck out his first time, reached on a fielder's choice in the third, and scored the first Dodger run. Bartolo Colon, who was up earlier, back up in the Mets pen. 3-1. Lined into center field for a base hit.
Yeah, he takes off, had that base stolen. Howie Kendrick hits the ball in the middle, he just keeps going.
Shade under 19 miles an hour. And Justin Turner coming through after Gonzalez had. And you add it all up, you get a 3-run third inning. The Mets getting a solo home run out of Daniel Murphy to make it 3-1.
We didn't have StatCast on Agon, did we?
No, Adrian Gonzalez kind of stumbled in. He's not used to running from first to home.
Saw Dan Warthen out there to have a word with his young pitcher Steven Matz, who has thrown 70 pitches. And here's Howie Kendrick.
Well, Matz will at least get 2 more hitters for a couple of reasons. One, he's got Kendrick now and then Adrian Gonzalez, the left-hander. But also we saw last night Adrian Gonzalez hit a home run off Colon and owns Colon, his career numbers.
Count even, a ball and a strike. Steven Matz, a feel-good story, a Long Island product, trying to pitch the Mets into the National League Championship Series, but in a struggle, giving up 3 in the third, behind 2-1 with Kike Hernandez at first. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Just trying to gut it out and keep them where they are. Wouldn't chase on the 2-2 and the count full.
Interesting, the crowd last night with the introductions of lineups was bounced past into a venomous state with the booing of Utley, but the crowd a little quieter than it was last night.
To right field, Granderson backpedals and makes the play, 1 down. Well, I think the situation last night too, Ron, was that once that game started getting out of hand, it was 10-3, and then it was, okay, what are we going to do with ourselves here for the next 5 innings? Oh, I know what we can do. Let's yell at Chase Utley.
That's right. And they did.
Hey, baseball fans, follow the postseason right from your phone with Team Stream by Bleacher Report. Get the latest MLB news, scores, and highlights all in the palm of your hand. Download Team Stream on the App Store or Google Play today. Here's Adrian Gonzalez. Knocked in a run his first time in that 3-run third. Up the middle. Gloved by Flores, who throws across for the second out. Hernandez to second.
That's 2 times now for Adrian. A jam shot up the middle that Flores has made a nice play on.
Comes across, knows he has time. Makes a nice easy throw across the diamond.
First base open, and Justin Turner is going to get the free pass.
I was going to say, watching Flores bend over for that ball, not so easy when you're 6'4", but I guess, Cal, you know a little bit about that.
It wasn't so easy for me to bend over either.
Of course, Flores in there because Ruben Tejada suffered the broken leg in that Chase Utley play. And what the Mets did is bring up Matt Reynolds, who has not played a big league game, has not played in this series yet, but they had him down there at St. Lucie and had told him before the series started, look, you're down there, stay ready, because if we do have an injury in the middle infield somewhere, you'd be the guy who gets the call. Where's number 56? And said he called his mom and dad, told his dad, I'm going to the big leagues. He was thrilled, gave the phone to his mom, who started crying and hung up on him. Seager. Foul. It was a great moment in their household, but then when they talked later, he said, Mom, you know you hung up on me after I made that call. They're here at the ballpark last night for Game 3.
Seager very aggressive on that first pitch.
And he takes a strike, 0-2. Big hitter here for Steven Matz.
Seager seems to be the best when he's behind in the count. He's hitting 394 when behind in the count in the regular season.
Ron and Lori, Matt's parents, among those standing here at Citi Field. That missed. Ball and 2 strikes.
You're ahead in the count. If you're going to throw a breaking ball here, make sure you get it down.
Dodgers lead from first and second. Strike 3 called to Corey Seager. The Dodgers put 2 on, but do not score. Middle of the 5th.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Lucas Duda has 12 at-bats in this series. He struck out 8 times, and he leads it off here in the 5th against Clayton Kershaw, who struck him out his first time. Got that big Dodger shift on, and I think Adrian Gonzalez is the only guy actually in the dirt right now.
So I guess there's no chance at all of him pushing this bunt over there towards third.
You may be right, Cal. 0-2.
Especially now. You know what I find interesting about Kershaw from the first game? We've already mentioned that he's pitched in a lot, but he's using that four-seam fastball more. It's like he's going after the hitters more aggressive.
Like Kershaw with that distinctive delivery, and Ron, we touched on it the other night, the way that right foot will hover for just a moment.
I love it. It's that little delay that makes it tough for the hitter to pick up, and it's almost like a kid when you have your bike and you're putting down the kickstand.
Another strikeout of the Mets first baseman. Strikeout 2-3 for the first out.
Watch it. As soon as he stops, puts that kickstand down and then goes. I think that's got to upset a hitter's timing, Cal.
Yeah, I mean, without going to home plate, you really don't know what it feels like, but there are a lot of pitchers that stride out a little further. That shorter on the ball, that has to be, that delay has to make him more deceptive with that 95. It'll appear like it's 98 or 99.
I'm sure at some point someone in Dallas, one of his coaches, said, "You can't do that, son." Thank God he didn't listen.
I've noticed too, it seems like his cutter's a little tighter tonight, especially to the lefties. A little shorter, a little harder.
A ball and 2 strikes to Wilmer Flores. And you talk about those Dallas days, and played with Matthew Stafford, who's now the Detroit Lions quarterback.
He's the center, right?
Jordan Walden. Yeah, they're over at Highland Park High School. Made Flores look bad. 2 down.
That's that hard, short cutter or slider.
Like backdoor cutter, though, right?
That's a really small little breaker. Starts on the outside, tries to break it to the outside corner. Totally fooled Flores on that one.
Kershaw has struck out the last 3 Mets he's faced, and here is Lagares. Little tapper, and that's a foul ball.
Well, it didn't appear to come off his foot from my angle.
When we showed a shot of the bullpen, we've seen Cologne. Did we see Jacob deGrom in the bullpen? Yes, we did. Well, we said he wouldn't bring him back early to start a ball game, but he didn't say anything about relieving in the ball game.
No, in fact, he left open the possibility when we talked to him yesterday. And he said, no, we're not bringing him back, but not saying that he couldn't bridge somewhere in there.
Could he just be thrown on the side?
No. No, not in this kind of game.
Michael Kadire has a bat. He would pinch hit for Matz if Lagares can reach. The 2-1 line, base hit. Lagares with the turn at first, and he's aboard with 2 down. Only the second hit for the Mets. The other was a home run by Daniel Murphy.
Good low fastball at 94 miles an hour. He goes down and hits a rocket to left center field.
Mets looking for a big 2-out hit here. They're 0 for 10 with men on in this series against Clayton Kershaw. Kadire waiting on Kershaw, and that is foul down the third base line. Kadire hit .244 before the All-Star break, .302 after it. He started game 1.
DeGrom comes into this game in relief. That would put Noah Syndergaard on proper rest to pitch on Thursday, if it goes that far.
The 0-1. No balls and 2 strikes. There is Noah Syndergaard, who pitched game 2. And there's DeGrom.
It's like all summer long, guys. We're going to take care of you. We'll give you some days off. But you know it's October. We got to have you now.
So does DeGrom out there surprise you?
No. No, it doesn't, because in this game, you cannot afford to give up any more runs against the way that Kershaw is throwing. That's your best chance of holding it at 3-1, and you only have to score a couple to get it even.
And not given the fact that Terry had broached the subject yesterday and said, you know, look, I'm not saying I'm going to bring him up back to start, but I'm saying, you know, it's a possibility you might see him out of the pen. 3-1 game, too. Breaking pitch. Got him swinging. 3 strikeouts in the inning, along with the single by Lagares. We head to the 6th. Let's take a look at tonight's playmakers presented by Chrysler. The Chicago Cubs in the National League Championship Series, having knocked off the St. Louis Cardinals in 4. Hit 10 home runs in the series, and 6 of those in Game 3. And their first time clinching a series at Wrigley Field. Have they left the field yet there at Wrigley? Do we have an update?
Boy, I tell you, it's a lot to ask of a 42-year-old. 2 innings yesterday and back there on the mound today.
We are in the top of the 6th, zipping right along here in Game 4. Yasiel Puig waits on Colon and takes a strike. 2-1. Yeah, Colon working in his 3rd game. 2, 3, and 4. Struck out the side last night. And it's 2-2 to Puig, who has popped to short and fly to left. Still looking for his first hit of the series. The 2-2 on the way, and Puig fouls that away.
Dominantly staying away, trying to bring that 2-seamer back to the outside corner. Looks like he's going to try to do that again.
Puig, big cut, comes up empty, 1 down.
I don't know if his intention was to go to the outside corner, catcher sitting up in the outside corner, or to elevate. That's the place that you'd consider Puig's weakness with 2 strikes.
Cal, how does he do it at 42?
I don't know. I only played to 41. He's got a wonderful arm.
Ron, could you switch spots with Cal?
Yes.
I think he's just reinvented himself. It was amazing to me. Frank Tanana threw the ball really, really hard like Nolan Ryan. Then he had an injury, and then all of a sudden he figured out how to change speeds, how to go in, go out. He was able to pitch a long time. I think Bartolo is the same example. He had a fastball that was straight as an arrow, and it was hard. It was a short arm, 4-seamer. At least figured out how to do something else. And that ball that comes back a long way. It's almost like a wiffle ball. It breaks so much.
Well, he and Tanana are different. What was the line about Tanana? He threw 90 in the 70s and 70s in the 90s. The thing about Colon is, you're right. What he's done with the 2-seamer is he has controlled the break on his sinking fastball. He's able to control it inside the lefties, inside the righties. It's really unbelievable to watch when you think about it. 42.
First time in his career he's pitched on back-to-back days. Andre Ethier will pinch hit here in the 6th for Ruggiano, who got the start against the lefty Mats. And Ethier swings right through it, 0-1.
Ethier was very impressive during batting practice today, hitting many balls up at the upper deck in right field.
Well, quickly he's behind, 0-2. Ethier 3 for 10 in this series. And behind in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Here it comes. Nibbled and missed, 2-2.
The strikeout pitch for the left-handers is that comebacker that he throws right at their hip. Let's see if he tries it against Ethier. No, back outside.
We already talked about earlier that Adrian Gonzalez owns him, and the style of hitter is Adrian Gonzalez will dive towards the outside part of the plate. You got Ethier that seems to come off a little bit, and that tail of the ball makes him susceptible to the outside pitch.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And Ethier. That was close. 3-2.
On our pitch tracks, it shows you the remarkable consistency of Bartolo Colon, even now at 42. He's putting the ball right where he wants to.
And good job by Chris Cuccione, the home plate umpire. Got a perfect eyeball on it.
Look at those circles.
The 3-2 is lined into the seats in a right foul.
I didn't catch the speed of that. Was that a changeup?
No, he tried to come inside. Took a little off, maybe.
Colon into the wind. Again, the 3-2. And he strikes out Ethier, who tipped it into the mid of Travis d'Arnaud. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Colon. We head to the bottom half of the 6th. New York Mets have managed 2 hits off Clayton Kershaw. As we move to the bottom half of the 6th, one of those left the park by Daniel Murphy, accounting for the only run the Mets have scored. They trail 3-1. Kershaw trying to pitch the Dodgers into a Game 5 in this National League Division Series. Curtis Granderson fouls off the first pitch, 0-1. Andre Ethier who pinch hit for Ruggiano in the top half of the inning, stays in the game and left.
Again, Granderson, first pitch hunting.
The curveball for Kershaw has been effective at times, but he still hadn't found that exact release point.
It's almost like it's been better against righties than lefties. Usually when you're a left-handed pitcher and you've got as big a breaking ball as Kershaw does, you aim it right at the left-handed hitter's right shoulder. That's where you want to start it to break it out over the plate.
We saw Kershaw get buckled by a similar breaking ball.
3 Dodger infielders on the right side. And Granderson watches that breaking pitch. 2-2.
Granderson found the left center field gap, and there's a huge left center field gap last night.
And Kershaw strikes him out to lead off the 6th. Official caps, hoodies, jackets, and more. Celebrate with your favorite team at the MLB.com shop. Granderson's been a tough out in this series. That's a big out for Kershaw here in the 6th.
But he stayed with that curveball. 3 times he went to it until Granderson finally bit.
Here's David Wright. Walked his first time, grounded out to short in the 4th. Now 1 for 11 in the series. But it was the Mets captain who came up so big in game 1. After Kershaw had been lifted in the 7th. And he delivered off Baez, knocking in 2 runs.
Kershaw continues to make good pitches to right. Remember in the first game, he used more of that cutter. He's using more of that straight 4-seam fastball into right.
Yeah, he reached out for a little extra. 96 on the last one, the inside edge.
Pitch number 79 by the left-hander. 2-1. He threw 113 in 6 2/3 in the opener. That was pretty. 2-2.
Fastball in 3 different times and then comes back with that backdoor cutter. Pretty pitching.
That's foul. Down the left side. Stays 2-2.
David is at his best when he is trying to hit the ball in the gaps, left center, right center. And that's why Kershaw is rushing him inside, trying to tie him up.
Breaking pitch, strike 3 called, and Wright knew it. Here's StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services. The only run Kershaw's allowed on that 101.8 mile-an-hour exit velocity solo homer by Daniel Murphy, who comes to the plate now with 2 down in the 6th. The last 6 outs recorded by Kershaw have all been strikeouts.
Ellis is telling Murphy, get in the box and be ready. Here it comes. There's a little argument right now between Murphy and Ellis. Murphy loves to talk to the umpire, and I think A.J. Ellis had enough of it.
That's interesting. There were times when I felt that the catcher was talking to the umpire too much, and you have to interrupt the conversations and disagree, just so you can your opinion could be heard against his.
Murphy and Kershaw ready. Here comes the 1-0. Count even, a ball and a strike. Kershaw, who saw his postseason record fall to 1-6 in the opener, trying to get the Dodgers to a Game 5, and there you saw the give and take between Murphy and Ellis. And Guccione saying, hold everything. Here we go. That's in the air to center. Plenty of room for Kike Hernandez. That's 6 strong innings for Clayton Kershaw. Dodgers lead at 3-1 as we head to the 7th. Well, some fast traffic on the Brooklyn Bridge. The 2015 National League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by T-Mobile. Top half of the 7th inning. Bartolo Colon still on there for New York, and Clayton Kershaw leads it off for the Dodgers. He lays down a bunt foul up toward third.
When you watch people, veterans like Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke, I can think of Adam Wainwright. When they pitch, they feel like they're one of the 9 athletes on the field. They feel like a ball player, not just a pitcher.
A couple of years ago, Kershaw, opening day, pitches a complete game, hits a home run to beat the Giants.
Little league game.
Yeah, exactly. The 1-1 from Cologne. Steven Matz, the Long Island product, started and went 5. Dodgers got to him for 3 runs in the 3rd. In the air to center. And Lagares puts it away for the first out.
I think that's the only time I want my pitcher to make an out. Don't want him on the bases. Got a little bit of a lead, just go down and sit down. Get ready to pitch.
Here he was trying to bunt for a hit.
That's right. As Jonathan Neese on the left, the left-hander, and Tyler Clippard on the right. Ricky Bonas, the bullpen coach.
Don't you think that's a little overblown? You know, how tired do you get when you get on the base?
You don't get that tired, but you know what makes you tired, Cal, is that you don't run the bases a lot. So being on the bases, it just makes you kind of mentally weary because you don't want to make a mistake out there and look kind of silly, getting caught off on a line drive.
Both those guys you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
they like to be in the game. They like to be competitive.
I agree.
I'd almost argue that it fuels them. They're contributing in the game both ways.
A ball and a strike to Kike Hernandez, the Dodgers leadoff hitter. Into right field, base hit.
Now, of course, there's a lot of pitchers that I wouldn't want them to be on the bases.
You wouldn't want to be a bat.
The guys you mentioned, it's a nice base hit to right field here.
You know, a couple of days ago when Don Mattingly inserted Kike Hernandez into the lineup, he got a lot of flack in Los Angeles. And Hernandez has been a real spark plug.
Oh, he's been so valuable for Don Mattingly this season. When Howie Kendrick got hurt, he played some second base. When Jock Peterson wasn't hitting, he played some center field. He could fill in at short. Hitting leadoff tonight in an elimination game. He's got 2 hits. He's reached 3 times, and he has scored a run.
It's a little dangerous part of the game for the Mets. Kendrick has been pretty much one of the best hitters to go with Turner. Throw over by Colon to keep the runner Hernandez close. This will be his last hitter, you would think. We already mentioned his numbers against Adrian Gonzalez are not good. Colon's numbers.
Could very well see Jonathan Neese here in the lefty-lefty. Mentioned Clippard also warming up. And Clippard's had some success against left-handed hitters as well.
Hernandez stole his first base in this series. A big stolen base. Was running on the pitch. And Kendrick hit a base hit up. He's got a big lead. Looks like he wants to run here.
Well, the one thing Mattingly can do now with a couple run lead, 1-0 count. Kendrick is a great hit and run guy.
Again, we go back to coverages in the middle of the infield. What choices do you make right here? If you're suspecting hit and run, if I'm shortstop, I'm taking the coverage.
There he goes. Hit and run was on. Grounded to second. There's 1. There's 2. Murphy with the tag of Hernandez. And throws on to first to get Hendrick. They're stretching at Citi Field. It is time to go inside the booth, presented by Esurance, proud partner of Major League Baseball. Ernie Johnson, Cal Ripken Jr., and Ron Darling. Boy, we saw Clayton Kershaw before the game in the dugout, bouncing around, full of energy. And he's been Clayton Kershaw tonight here in Game 4.
He really has, but this is the mountain to climb. He's leading by 2 runs, but in the 7th inning of his last 3 postseason starts, he's allowed 11 runs. That's what he's got to stay away from here tonight.
New York Mets with a chance to clinch tonight if they can beat Kershaw. But they have managed just 1 run to this point. Daniel Murphy took him deep in the 4th inning, which is what he also did in Game 1 of this series at Dodger Stadium. And it was the 7th inning that was crucial in that opener, when the Mets were able to chase Kershaw, and David Wright was able to deliver with a couple of runs batted in. There in the 7th, Yoenis Cespedes will lead it off. Then it's Travis d'Arnaud and Lucas Duda. The Chicago Cubs have already punched their ticket to the National League Championship Series. Congrats to Theo Epstein and Joe Madden, the city of Chicago.
And the Ricketts family.
It's been quite a story all year.
Here's Cespedes, who put one in orbit in Game 3. No balls and 1 strike.
And Kershaw's handled him the whole series. And he couldn't be hotter right now. Feeling good.
It's Chris Hatcher on the left, Luis Avilan on the right.
Avilan pitched last night. Hatcher's been lights out, pitching in the first 2 games in relief. Breaking pitch up the line. Kershaw can't make the play. Cespedes is on to lead off the 7th.
Now, Clayton has not pitched well in the 7th inning, like I just mentioned, 11 runs. But it's been a lot of little stuff that has happened also. Some errors, some missed plays, some pops, some swinging bunts, and he can't get down to get that one.
Well, I tell you what, he knew he didn't have much time. Cespedes started to rally off with an infield single yesterday and flew down the line. So that play right there, Kershaw was going after it really quick because he knew the pressure of Cespedes' speed. He gets out of the box. Here he goes.
We'll never know because he didn't field it and make the throw, but that's a tough chance even if he fields it cleanly. Here's d'Arnaud.
But you're right, Ronnie. When things have gone bad for Clayton in the postseason, they've been little things, like those things, like a bloop, like a throw over the cutoff man's head that allows the back runner to advance, and then a bloop hit.
Or in the case of Game 1, it was 3 walks in the 7th inning that finally had Don Mattingly go to the mound and get him. d'Arnaud is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Cespedes has his lead at first. Three-1 game, so you know if you're the Mets and you get a runner on, one swing could tie everything up.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect Cespedes to be running either. He's going to stay close to first base and hope somebody hits a home run.
d'Arnaud did in Game 3. In the air behind first. That'll be easy for Adrian Gonzalez in foul territory, 1 down. And here comes a guy who is Duda, Lucas Duda. 2 strikeouts tonight. 2 for 13 in the series with 9 Ks. Justin Turner, the third baseman, over there in the hole on the right side. Corey Seager The shortstop, the only Dodger on the left side. That's in the air, but playable. Edge of the track for Hernandez, and that's 2 down. Boy, better than 44,000 trying to will that ball in the gap. Wouldn't work.
Tonight, Wilmer Flores is 0 for 2 with 2 punch-outs. Coming in, he had pretty good numbers against Kershaw. Kershaw's handling pretty well tonight.
Just going over the scouting report one more time. 2 outs, huge out here. Flores has got some pop.
"16 home runs, 59 runs batted in the regular season." Flores 2 for 6 in this series, has struck out twice tonight. Tried to check his swing, and Gary Cedarstrom, the crew chief, said he did not go. Kershaw sitting on 92 pitches and on a 3-1 lead here in the 7th. They're going to ask again. Same response, 2-0.
Yeah, I don't think this was a swing either. But what it tells me is he's gearing for the fastball a little bit. Normally you see the check swing on the breaking ball when you're fooled on a pitch.
Mets are looking for their first hit with a runner on base versus Kershaw. 0 for 13.
Coming with a little cutter inside here.
To third. Look at the stop by Turner. Throws across. And he got him. Blue Star play to end the 7th by Justin Turner on a hot shot. Gloves it, gathers, and throws a strike. We're heading to the 8th. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Upcoming MLB postseason schedule. Tomorrow, pair of Game 5s on FS1. Rangers are in Toronto. Astros are in Kansas City. Man, that comeback by the Royals to stay alive in that series was vintage Kansas City. And if we need it, Thursday, Mets and Dodgers in Game 5. We head to the 8th here in Game 4. Dodgers trying to stay alive. Tyler Clippard is the third Mets pitcher, and he faces Adrian Gonzalez.
He was acquired from Oakland on July 27th. His first 20 games, lights out for the Mets. Since then, it's been a struggle for Clippard. So a big inning here.
Gonzalez has knocked in a run. Part of that 3-run Dodger third. That's where they did all their damage. Meantime, Clayton Kershaw has been spectacular. Did give up the home run to Daniel Murphy in the 4th, but has only allowed 3 hits. Nobody past first base. In the air behind third, David Wright over in foul territory, and he squeezes it for out number 1. Big out for Clippard.
Nice sequence right there. 2 changeups. Got a really good changeup on the outside part. Shook to a fastball in. And jammed Adrian in the pop fly to David Wright.
It's the 3rd time that Adrian Gonzalez has been jammed in this game.
Clippard worked 2/3 of an inning in relief of Jacob deGrom in the opener. Gave up a couple of hits and a run.
We've been talking so much about Justin Turner's offense. Can't forget that play he just made in the bottom of the 7th.
He's knocked in 2 of the Dodger runs, and that was a dandy to end the bottom half of the 7th inning. 1-1.
He had been shading the line a little bit, not necessarily guarding the line, but shading it on that cutter that comes in from Clayton. Good reaction to his left. Good catch, good throw.
Turner, a former Met, trying to keep that champagne on ice and give the Dodgers a chance back at their place on Thursday.
Never know whose leg kick is bigger, the pitcher or Turner's when he's hitting.
In the air to center field. Hit it right on the button, but also hit it right at Lagares for the 2nd out. Iron Man, how old were you the first time you went to the postseason?
22.
Yeah, so you got Seager, who's 21. So what's going on in that mind first time around? In fact, well, you had more time in the bigs going into the playoffs than he did. It was the month of September. Look at David Wright reaching over the railing to make that play. One, 2, 3 inning, and Wright ends it in style. I'll get your answer when we come back, Iron Man. Play Ball is MLB's initiative to inspire all forms of baseball and softball participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everybody. To learn more, go to playball.org. Changes for the Dodgers. Chris Hatcher is the new pitcher. Jimmy Rollins is the new shortstop. Corey Seager moves from short to third. Justin Turner out. And Michael Conforto is going to pinch hit for Juan Lagares to lead it off here in the bottom half of the 8th inning.
Hatcher pitched in game 2, had a couple of strikeouts. They asked him, he's another converted catcher to a reliever. Asked him to use all of his pitches. He got in a stretch where he was all hard fastball, hard slider. Now he uses all 4 pitches.
Conforto homered in game 2 off Zach Greinke, a line drive off the foul pole at Dodger Stadium. Two-run game. In the air to right center field. Puig is over. Says he's got it, and he does. One down. And Terry Collins again going to the bench. Kelly Johnson will pinch hit with one down here in the 8th. So Clayton Kershaw goes 7 on short rest, throws 94 pitches.
Well, we said in the open, why not? And why not tonight? And he delivered.
A ball and a strike. Kelly Johnson behind. A ball and 2 strikes.
It's a pretty smooth 97 and 98.
With Kenley Jansen waiting in the wings for the 9th. Or more.
Or maybe the 8th, or part of the 8th.
Kelly Johnson won at bat in the series. He's 0 for 1. And Hatcher wants a new baseball. The 1-2. Stayed down low. Count even. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Good changeup. 88 miles an hour, about 10 miles an hour off his fastball. We'll see it again.
And he gets Johnson swinging for the 2nd out of the 8th. Statcast. The play by Justin Turner. Great reaction on a hard hit ball to end that inning.
I love that. We only show on the exit velocity on home runs. That shows you that at over 100 miles an hour, Turner had to make that play.
Top of the order now in Curtis Granderson.
Turner was so good defensively, they took him out for this inning.
Not to mention the 2 runs batted in and that 3-run third. Hatcher worked in game 1 and game 2. Has pitched a couple innings in this series and hasn't allowed anything. Struck out 3 coming in and added Kelly Johnson to that list here in the 8th. Up and away, 2-1. Again, just a 2-run game. A base runner brings the tying run to the plate. Three balls and 1 strike. So you think Don Mattingly got all he could get out of Clayton Kershaw on short rest in this one?
Well, he told our Sam Ryan, he said, we're going to protect our best asset, Clayton Kershaw. I would have sent him out for the 8th.
Granderson draws a 2-out walk. And David Wright represents the tying run as he steps to the plate here in the 8th.
I know I talk about pitch selection and when trying to manage a game from behind, but the 2-1 pitch to Granderson was a changeup. Yeah. He lays off of it, goes 3-1, and then can't get a fastball over. With 98 miles an hour, you wonder why he doesn't challenge him there.
And Curtis is trying to work the count. He's trying to get on base.
Don Mattingly is going to go to the bullpen. We talked about Kenley Jansen being ready for the 9th and maybe more. It's maybe more time. We'll be back to Citi Field right after this. Back here at Citi Field, big spot. Bottom half of the 8th inning. Dodgers trying to protect a 3-1 lead. And the tying run at the plate in the person of the Mets captain, David Wright. Kenley Jansen, the closer, has 8 4-out saves in his career. And he's trying to get the Dodgers to a Game 5.
David Wright is 0 for 6 with 4 Ks against Kenley Jansen.
He's 0 for 2 tonight. Walked in the first, grounded out in the 4th, called out on strikes in the 6th against Kershaw. Granderson with the lead at first, 2 out. There goes Granderson. And he'll have it stolen without a throw.
Well, huge jump, and I don't know why you don't try to at least defense this play, because all you got to do is pick up a run here.
Yeah, I don't understand why either.
Right?
Many times the closer doesn't worry about slowing himself down, or speeding himself up. He wants to be slow and he wants to have a good velocity to the plate.
The 1-1. Jansen ahead, a ball and 2 strikes. Chris Hatcher came on in relief to start the inning, retired the first 2 hitters. Conforto on a fly ball to Puig, and he struck out Kelly Johnson before walking Granderson. That brought Don Mattingly out. That brought Kenley Jansen in, and brought David Wright up. 1-2 the count. Tried to bust him inside. 2-2. Right with 2 big ribbies in the opener when the Mets went to Dodger Stadium and took game 1. Trying to deliver here in game 4.
He had a good swing, but I was on that high fastball, but it's the one you have to make him bring it down. It's going to be hard. It's going to be cutting away from you. A good approach, right center field, which is a normal David Wright approach.
You'd love to hit the ball out of the ballpark, but a base hit gets you one closer. Outfield defense almost playing on the warning track.
A base hit definitely scores the run.
44,000 on their feet here at Citi Field. And Wright, who has had some quality at-bats, doesn't have great numbers in the series, but man, he has battled time and again in this series.
The rally caps are out.
That rally cap about a size and a half too small, but that doesn't matter when it's a rally cap.
DeGrom back on the bench.
Granderson with a lead at second. 2 out and a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes to David Wright. Jansen to the plate. Oh, and look at A.J. Ellis. And they asked for help. And Cedarstrom says he did not go.
A.J. Ellis saying that it hit Wright's bat. He's saying it's a foul tip and into the glove.
I couldn't see a deflection, could you?
Hard to tell.
Sometimes you can hear it go in the catcher's glove, where it's not clean and it sounds like a foul tip.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Inside, ball 4, 2 on.
A.J. Ellis still talking about that foul tip. I think it's definitely a check swing, but does it hit off the end of the bat while he's checking it?
Boy, to me it looked like it tipped the bat.
I was looking at the same replay and it looked like it didn't.
That's how close it was. I just always think that a catcher, when he reacts like A.J. Ellis did, he's not going to react this way because he's trying to deke someone. I would think he'd react this way because he felt like he did. Difficult call. All the noise. Umpires behind the plate count on hearing that double sound. The click of the bat and then into the glove. Can't hear it with this crowd.
Back-to-back walks to Granderson and David Wright. And here's Daniel Murphy, who took Kershaw deep in the 4th inning. There's a strike from Jansen. 0-1.
Not a lot of at-bats against Jansen, but still 1 for 7.
Kenley Jansen's the kind of pitcher that nobody hits. For Mets fans, yeah.
The 0-1. Count even.
And Cespedes is on deck circle, say, give me a chance.
One ball and 2 strikes. How rare was that walk by Kenley Jansen? He had 80 strikeouts and 6 walks in 52 1/3. But he put David Wright on. He's a strike away from getting out of this jam in the 8th and preserve a 2-run lead. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Tried to go up over the center of the plate, but got it up and away off the plate.
Jansen took a little stroll, took a deep breath, and settles back in. The 2-2. That missed. Full count.
Runners will be moving on the pitch. So a long single, you might have a chance to see Wright score. But definitely on a double.
Payoff pitch to right field. Charging is Puig, who makes the play. The Mets put a couple of guys on, but do not score. We head to the 9th at Citi Field. after the game for the postseason show on TBS, presented by the Lincoln Motor Company. Casey, Pedro, Chef, and Dusty standing by.
Well, with the day off tomorrow, if the Mets cannot come back in this game, Familia in this game to keep it where it's at.
Boy, the Mets, you see Michael Conforto in at left field, and then Cespedes moves from left to center. But they put runners on. They had the go-ahead run at the plate. But Jansen up to the challenge. And so it's 3-1 as we go to the ninth. And Puig leads it off, looking for his first hit of the series, and he's 0 for 3 tonight. In the dirt from Familia. 1-0. Boy, this place was rocking. They've come here to celebrate, and it looked like the eighth could be a breakthrough inning, but not to be here at Citi Field.
Well, we came on before the game and talked about Clayton Kershaw, and it wasn't any analytics. It was just a feel that a pitcher as good as he has been should not be 1-6 in the postseason. Should not have an ERA of a 2 and a 9 in elimination games. He just felt at some point he had to have a signature game. I think today was it.
We saw him long before the first pitch, sitting in the outfield grass in left field, just collecting his thoughts, then getting stretched out. Then he comes in the dugout and he's high-fiving everybody. There was a lot of energy in that dugout before the first pitch. Puig with the grounder in the hole, and Flores throws him out for out number 1 here in the ninth. And here's the catcher, A.J. Ellis, who with his 4th inning single ran his postseason hitting streak to 12 games, which is a Dodger record. He had shared it with Carl Crawford, but broke it tonight. We were kind of wondering today, is game 4 going to be more like game 1 and 2, or more like game 3 when all those runs were scored? And it's been very much like games 1 and 2, tough and tight. Dodgers fighting for their playoff lives and are 3 outs away from sending it back to Chavez Ravine for a game 5 on Thursday.
Quick pitch there by Familia with the split finger. Greinke with the nod. It's probably your probables right there, DeGrom and Greinke for game 5.
In the air to left center field. Who wants it? Cespedes does. 2 down. Let's take a look at tonight's forecaster presented by FanDuel. Dodgers with a 95% chance of winning when leading after 8. And an 82-4 mark for Don Mattingly's bunch. Now here's Andre Ethier. Didn't start tonight. Ruggiano did in left against the left-hander Steven Matz, but when Matt's time was through tonight, Ethier came on as a pinch hitter. In the air to center. That'll be easy for Cespedes. 1-2-3 inning. We head to the bottom of the ninth. The Mets with one more chance. 2015 National League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by T-Mobile. Thanks so much for being with us tonight here on TBS. Game 4 of this best of 5. Jock Peterson into center field for the Dodgers, replacing Kike Hernandez. Peterson, great speed, can really go get him in the outfield. Yoenis Cespedes will lead it off with the Mets down 2. A strike from Kenley Jansen, 0-1. Can you imagine this place if that guy had been at the plate with runners on in the 8th? It was loud as it was. A typical Cespedes cut, but nothing to show for it. 0-2.
Boy, with this shift and all those cutters from Jansen, I don't know if Cespedes has a swinger that he can cut down on to hit that ball to the right side.
And he goes down on 3 pitches to open up the bottom of the 9th.
It's a high cutter. Got a little late movement to it.
I'll tell you, that guy has been dialed in all night. Clayton Kershaw, looking for his 2nd career postseason win. The other came against the Braves in the NLDS a couple of years ago, but he came in 1-6. That's upstairs to Travis d'Arnaud, 1-0.
All those hits last night, all those runs last night. You look at the board now, 1 run on 3 hits for the Mets.
Last night, 13 runs on 13 hits. Oh yeah, Clayton Kershaw was pitching tonight.
That's why they say all the momentum starts and stops with the pitcher.
Especially the great ones.
One ball and 2 strikes. d'Arnaud 0 for 3. Flied out to right, struck out in the 4th, and fouled out to Adrian Gonzalez in the 7th. Mets need a base runner to bring the tying run to the plate, but it's not going to be d'Arnaud. He strikes out, 2 down.
Yeah, you can see the intent is to elevate the fastball. Got a little cut to it, but it's really the velocity and the height of that pitch, not the cut, that gets the strikeout.
That's 11 more strikeouts for the Mets tonight's game. This has been the strikeout series.
That's 46 Mets who have struck out in the series. And Lucas Duda knows that feeling. Twice tonight, 9 times in the series. He's just 2 for 14. Jansen to the plate. A ball and a strike. 3 runs for the Dodgers in the 3rd inning. Gonzalez knocked one in. Justin Turner knocked in 2. Clayton Kershaw, Chris Hatcher, and now Kenley Jansen making it stand up. That's in the air to center field. That's Jock Peterson, and that is a 2-2 series. We are heading to Game 5 in Los Angeles with the Chicago Cubs waiting for the winner. Clayton Kershaw, his 2nd postseason win. And the Dodgers fight off elimination. Kershaw to hand the baton now to Zach Greinke.
Talk about some weight coming off someone's shoulders. What a performance by Clayton in a game that the Dodgers had to have. As good a victory with all the things that he has accomplished. 3 Cy Youngs, no hitter. This is as sweet as it gets.
And it feels like where all the momentum was here and the advantage was with the Mets, now you're thinking, okay, we've got to go back and face Greinke.
Greinke against DeGrom. What a matchup.
He had lost 5 consecutive starts in the postseason, had Clayton Kershaw. But tonight, with the season on the line, he goes 7 strong. And the Dodgers, even the series at 2 games apiece. Clayton Kershaw is on the field with Sam Ryan. Sam.
Clayton, you send the series back to Los Angeles. You do this on 3 days rest. You look so excited out there before the game. How amped up were you?
Yeah, I was pretty fired up. I knew the adrenaline would take over there. It's just a matter of controlling it. The first inning, I was kind of all over the place a little bit. Fortunate to get out of that, and then after that, felt pretty good.
On Friday, their left-handed hitters had some success against you. Aside from Daniel Murphy tonight, not much. What was the difference?
Yeah, those guys are swinging the bats really well, especially Curtis and Murphy at the top of the order. So really, I just tried to mix it up a lot more. Usually I'm pretty I just kind of fired in there and let lefties go for it. But tonight I tried to mix it up a little bit more. And Murphy still got me. I thought it was a decent pitch, but great hitters, give them credit.
7th inning postseason games have been somewhat of an Achilles heel for you. To get through that 7th inning, we saw your reaction in the dugout, the big smile on your face. How key was that for you?
Yeah, after Cespedes got that infield single, I was, that's tough to get the leadoff guy on there. That's what you want to do, try to keep him off base. But fortunate to get out of that. JT made a really nice play over there at third, and it felt good. Definitely felt good to get out of that.
Congratulations. We'll see you Thursday.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you, Clayton Kershaw. Yeah, that stop by Justin Turner on the shot by Flores to end the inning. Very big as Kershaw completed his 7 innings of work, and the Dodger bullpen took it from there. 2 games apiece. Back to wrap it up right after this.